or rather, individually in the sense of each individual team has been making good plays on their map pick. Fracture, that was true for ISU. It felt like they really had a good handle on what was going on. Pearl, same true for Sac State. Now we had to Ascent, though, where I made the point before, and I'll make it one more time, TTL, that this should be much more of a middle ground, potentially, for both of these teams. I expect to see more of a duel than what we have been seeing, which has been trading blows.
The one map we did not see, because our first series of the day went to all 5 maps, and we wanted to keep things rolling, at least in the fullest extent possible. Haven went 16-14. Haven doesn't play similar to Ascent. They're drastically different maps. One has 3 sites, one has 2. But the way in which teams play them in terms of, well, how well a squad will play Pearl versus maybe Haven or Ascent is similar. Whereas you will see teams play much more close affairs. Very rarely will you see a 13-0 or a 13-1, and more often than not, it's a bunch of Immortals taking on a bunch of Silvers, or a massive fluke. One or the other. I do not expect this one to take any less than 20 rounds. If it does, I will not only be thoroughly surprised, but interested to see which squad takes it in that fashion.
Yeah, I think to add on to that as well, it's a situation where, you know, you'll often have a team ban out Pearl or Fracture for that matter. Typically you're going to have, you know, one of those maps, not both of those, in your pool at a collegiate level. Well, you almost certainly have both Haven and Ascent in your pool at some level of consistency. Maybe it's not your best, maybe it's not your worst, but you're going to play them both. And as we get the lock-ins and ready to go, we get to determine to what extent that's true for these squads. It will be a big question. And, of course, the chance for the Redbirds to close this out. I think that's maybe something we've understated to this point. The chance to clutch up and win one map to close this out in the finals, I think it actually, on the one hand, adds a sense of additional pressure, but on the other, it's right in your grasp. You know, you can reach it. It's now attainable, as opposed to Sac State, who still have to at least win one more map before even being in that conversation.
Issues, I think, setting in, and Redbirds will start again on the defensive side. I don't know how much more consistent things could be. Sac State was given the attack rather than choosing it this time around, as it is their own map selection. But what's the call here for Sac State? Pistol round. It's your attacking side pistol. You kind of need to win it. What do you think?
Well, so it doesn't look like this is going to happen, but every team mid-splits and mid-split to B is like the standard. Looks like they're going to go A, but that's the that's collegiate special on the pistol round. Mid-split to B.
I prefer mid-split to B in my ranked games, so I would not discount that by any means. Seems like A is indeed the call, though, as you mentioned. Dark cover is nearly perfectly timed, and a 0 point will find 3 separate players there, if not a 4th. Information and an abundance in the earlier stages here, and because of that, I think Sac State may just back away.
There's a lurk out mid here right now. This could be found, and yeah, Jared's going to get that kill for free. Back towards the mid area. Oh, we're going to see the mid split. The mid split's happening. I told you, it's the thing. It's the thing. Every college team does it. I'm telling you, man. It's always the mid split. Jared gonna get found out there, Broly. Well, at least find that frag, so it'll equalize the numbers as the retake gets set up. But the B side overwhelmed.
Why'd they just give up main control like that? You had full main control if you're Brawly here. Were you waiting for support? I mean, yeah, sure, that could be the call, but the problem is you've given this up and you're leaving your teammates out to dry around the button. This full retake has to be a little bit quicker. There's no full time to do this. You don't have utility to really engage this site retake, and information is fully there. 3 separate players seen by that recon bolt. This is near perfect as a setup, in Spain will just swing for one and then fully disengage. The rest of the team now setting in for frags of their own, and a 1 versus 4 here for Moral. It is just a feeble effort with the Ghost as they swing into 2 separate players. Everybody from Sac State stepping up, a team ace in the pistol, and the default mid to B works out nearly perfect.
That it does. It all starts, though, with Jared finding that lurk kill onto the player pushing, and that was Snelly pushing up mid. Wasn't even looking for the player tile. Didn't have any inkling that there would be someone there. The information they thought they had gained over at A main, and they did have info, but not on all 5. That starts the rotation. From there, it all falls apart for the Redbirds at Sac State to start out very well. Classics across the board for the defense this time out. And that's 2 players caught up in mid. Information now in hand. The A side is probably a little bit weak.
What? Palmer's just in a smoke, though. Okay, no. He was seen. We're good. Spain took care of it. It's okay. Calm down, Sac State fans. We're good. Prick just takes 75 damage from that recon bolt. Walks in, does find a kill, but is again immediately returned upon, and the door closes right in the face of the Jet. More and more problems setting in. Snelly's going to try and open it, but this is just pistols retaking against a man disadvantage and against better weaponry. Turret will be set up, so maybe information gained with it, but it's quickly taken care of, and Broly's going to try and find a kill there, but is quickly clotheslined by the Sheriff. No easy way in. Snelly trying to walk in, but at this point you're just trying to do some economic damage. This is not going to be a 1 round, nor will it be apparently economic damage. 4 players stay alive in back-to-back rounds here for Sac State. This time, no team ace, but hey, who cares?
Yeah, it'll be fine. As long as you get the kills, it's all that matters, and the kills were certainly had. Just 2 of them, actually, there for the Redbirds of the first 2 rounds. Not ideal, but not a problem, because here's the buy round. The big purchase, it's the Odin up for morale, as you would tend to see pretty often on the Sova. So, we'll see how that goes. Currently, 4 players are set to push towards that Odin as well, so maybe we could see some fireworks that way. For the time being, it's just a passive play with 4. Well, towards B, in the B-main area, not even being aggressed upon until just about now.
We'll try and spam it. Oh, if they spam now, they get caught out, and now they have to back away. They spam that 3 seconds earlier, they may find a kill there, but the Aftershock will go in. Flash around the corner. Moral's caught out by the flash, but they still win the fight. Mouse 1 works out to near perfection, but they still have to find a follow-up. They have some support, but Pomo is just fully Ferrari-peaked around that corner, and the spike plan's inevitable. Question is, how successful will the retake be from 2 separate directions? Oh, and the flank being set up. Jared may have been heard, though. How was Jared not heard? Oh, no, prick. Oh, no.
Bad news. Certainly should have been, but Broly has made this winnable. This spike is incredibly exposed. Isn't even going to tap it yet? Interesting. Just wants to take this fight. Heads up duel. And Jared will not expect this. How could he? How should he? This will be Broly 1v3. Broly for the connection on the clutch. It's a very nice clutch round here for the Redbirds. And I love the decision making there from Broly. It's not the norm, but it's certainly reasonable.
That's wild on like 3 separate aspects as well. Not only being flanked and dying there, but Broly swinging for the second kill, and then the follow-up was found while not even tapping the spike. You expect it. You said, not even going to tap it? And they didn't at all. Not even giving an indication they were going for the objective. But apparently you don't really have to if you don't want to. Bit of a tech pause really quick while we get some things sorted in the back end. But the clutch, all important. And I have to say, if there was a tech issue to happen, that was a pretty good time considering that clutch coming through.
A good time for Sac State, I would say, as well. It gives them some moments to reset themselves and get themselves back into contention here. So it was so impressive that our observer's PC crashed. It was very, very impressive indeed. But all that to say, what a great way to get on the board for the Redbirds. That's a momentum starter if I've ever seen one. Piss around win and everything else. You're like, okay, we're doing well if you're Sac State, and then suddenly you get 1v3'd after basically just waltzing your way into the site for free. You do all the right things on the entry. That flash play with the flash points going through were so good on the entry. It's like, all good until you're 1v3'd, I guess.
2 separate instances of timing and a near perfect timing swing for the clutch. It looked like Brawley was cheating, considering he was looking through the wall for that kill, but I think he heard the movement in order to not only give him the information, but the know-how to swing for that frag. With this tech issue, we're going to send it to a break. We're not going to talk your ears off too much about these first 3 rounds. When we return, hopefully, the follow-up of Ascent and maybe the conclusion of this series. Game hasn't paused, but apparently you haven't missed all that much. Redbirds take their clutch victory and turn it into a follow-up now with a 5v5 with just 15 seconds left to walk into a meat grinder. It's a blender through B main, and it's to their own demise. Nice follow-up from a roll to find a double, but as chaos ensues, it's not done just yet. They have to clear out the site. Do they know Palmo's here? The answer? Not a chance. Spike's dropped. No time for Jared to even find kills, much less even try and plant that spike. As we return, Redbirds turn it into 3 consecutive rounds here on the defensive side of Ascent. Welcome back, by the way, to the Challengers Nationals Finals here in NECC Valorant. Time Light still joining alongside me is Vincent. Chaos, well, just a follow-up here for Sac State as they need to call timeout.
Yeah, from one timeout into another, a technical to a tactical is the Redbirds. I mean, great stuff for them to find so much success there off the back of that clutch. I mentioned it can be a momentum starter, and it certainly seems that that's been the case. Great job as well from Palmo on the site to just stick around. It's so easy, I think, to force the issue, kind of try and help Moral, who had the Odin there in CT. A lot of players would try and force that position, would try and get themselves into a spot to try and help take that fight. Instead, just letting Moral, take the fight, win the duel, and then the time was ticking so low already, it was not a problem. So we'll see what can be cooked up for Sac State in this timeout, though. I do have some faith that they'll be able to figure something out. That said, the Redbirds looking good.
I mean, looking at that previous round, we saw all of, 20 seconds of it? But honestly, that's all of the round we needed to see. Oh my goodness. Am I seeing that right? Do you see that Odin on the floor? You see that, right? I'm not sure.
I looked away momentarily, I'm sorry.
Can we look back at Defender spawn for a couple seconds? I'm like 80% sure I see an Odin on the floor, and Marol just manually bought an Odin walking out of spawn.
That would be tragic.
I saw it on the floor next to like the little pillar there. I could be wrong, but that's just like way too many credits to give up for free.
So this is a little bit of a metagame angle type of thing, but taking your timeout into your eco round is something that a lot of teams end up doing because they want to take a timeout after you're losing an important round. But I think it's probably better to take your timeout into your gun round. Small thing,
Same.
But it's also very personal. It's not like there's a right and a wrong answer, but
seems like everybody has their own response to that. I prefer timeouts into a gun round. You can make a decision and actionably do it directly after your full minute of time to make a decision. Oh, Spain takes that information, turns into a follow-up frag, but no, Palmo will find an immediate return and equalize things once more. Little bit of a weapon disadvantage here for Sac State. Nothing to really write home about, but you saw it. It was a stinger into an Odin, and the stinger still won. Granted, mostly based off of timing, and here's a Sheriff for Python is epic, but it seems like B is indeed the call. Lockdown dedicated. They want to try and play for this early frag, and if they can recuperate that Odin, that's a massive bane to the existence of this defensive side should they try and play aggressive.
Yeah, that's probably a big reason that they're going to commit on this. I mean, also the opening pick, but Spike will go down. Cosmic Divide as well, creating some space. Now there's a lot of options for the defense to come back in 4v4.
Off your feet!
Rolling Thunder will create a little bit of space, but they use from the shadows to get out of the Rolling Thunder. The problem is Python is epic on that flank will find a double. A double now for Prick and Broly as they return for one each, but Python is epic is not done. They will retrieve that operator and turn it into yet another frag. Sheriff comes through for how to feed as well, and that reaggression is just shut down at every turn for ISU. They could not gain that ground. Yep, there's that Odin, by the way.
Feels bad.
He bought one. That's cash they're gonna want back if you're Redbirds. Look at the cash left over from a roll.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
no.
They can't buy. What a surprise!
No, gotta get it bought over by a teammate. Absolutely a big deal. That's lots of cash that they do not have. Now, Blade Storm will be used from Snelly to start things out. Still not over by any means, but a great round with limited investment. The attackers, Sac State, feeling very good about that. Their investments, I mean, they were heavy in the ultimate department, but let's be real. Those are very well worth it to win a round that you were really probably, 80-20 meant to lose? So, set up now. Mid-control gathered up for Sac State, and they're going to work from there. Try and find at least some sort of opening. Right now, it's very defaulty, but I like that they've gathered a lot of space already, Sac State, and they've taken advantage and they've pushed it. Oh, that's a nice double swing, though.
Perfect around timing as well. Snelly is going to pop the Tailwind and the Updraft, but the Blade Storm, it doesn't even find damage, much less a kill. Brawley will shut down Jared, though, sitting in towards Wine Cellar. They do not have spike control, but they have a lot of control on this far side. How to Feed's going to get the spike down on the far side of default. The Generator is not safe anymore, though, with that Hunter's Fury from long range that may very well decide it. Brawley finds yet another. It's 2 actually from the A main side. And Bowie's in a 1 versus 4. They're being flanked with timing and oh my goodness. Brawley doesn't care about the wall sitting in front of you. This is Ascent. They're made of cardboard and you're going to die through them. ISU will turn it into a lead back again.
Yeah, by the way, what great setup from Brawley. The communication as well onto that Killjoy into the Hunter's Fury. Moral pops the Hunter's Fury. You notice he doesn't get kills with it? Doesn't matter. Pushes out those players into the open, allows Brawley to find both of those kills. The second and the third, and then, well, that wallbang was simply absurd. Way to respond after losing a round that is probably pretty rough to lose. They come alive. Do the Redbirds and Sac State back in the same position they were just a round ago, where they're at limited weaponry. A buy that's got some legs, but not a lot of running room.
Python already caught out with some damage. Double Updraft will find absolutely nothing but thin air, and the 0 point will find information of plenty. Hunter's Fury used, and Prick is just dusted on the backside of Tetris. Python just walking in with that Blaze Storm, though, is down to a single knife as they try for that aggression, and the door is closed behind them. Snelly may think that the main side of tree is now safe, but it's not. There's still that jet inside of the general vicinity, but they're quickly taken care of. The single blade missed, but now the flank setting in. There's one, almost a second, but Jared gets caught out with timing in and of their own right, but a Nanostorm can take out that lockdown and force Brawley out into the open. Follow-ups up plenty here for the attacking side as Sac State holds W, and a thrifty round for them to come back as they tie things right back up.
It's their second thrifty round in the last 3. I mean, ridiculous considering the investments as well being made by the defense. And I gotta say, it's been a bit of a concern of mine that's now starting to really come to a head. Sac State on classics and stingers looking the best that they've really looked at all over that last map at the very least. So, pushing into this round. Last time out, it was really solid work from the Redbirds, but remember, they did have some ultimates to work from. And we'll have to see if that's going to be a consistent requirement for them to find success as another default setup. This has been a very effective default for Sac State.
And just patience over towards Wine Cellar. Oh, and Cellar's just forced out in the open. Perfect utility play. A lot of the times you'll see an Aftershock thrown into Wine Cellar, and if somebody doesn't immediately swing, they just look away, and then a delayed swing turns into a couple kills. But not the case. Sac State cross their T's, dot their I's, do their due diligence, and turn it into an opening frag, and then just go a different direction. Why re-aggress in the same spot when you honestly don't have to? You already have B-main control. Seems like the pistol round specials going to come through here, but Prick has seen a decent bit on that jump peak towards mid. They've seen at least 2 players, if not a third. So they may have the information to rotate should they need it, and a dark cover perfectly timed comes through as Pomo actually finds a follow-up kill. Prick one of their own as well. They're not done on the defensive side. Redbirds don't care that they don't have that man advantage. They're now up 3. They haven't lost a single player after that initial engagement, and Bowie's in a 1 versus 4. Spike down in Pizza. They have no way back in. Looking for that first frag will find it. Readjustment off the back of headshot. They're down to 8 HP though, and they're going to be re-swung. Pomo trying to play for this kill. 15 seconds left, and they can't even find a follow-up. 2 kills total found for Sac State, and one of them was just handed over.
Pomo's the key player there in this round. Gets suspicious, knows that they're losing lots of map control. They don't have B main. They really didn't have B site control, and so they had a feeling that the mid area could be pushed. It was either mid or A. There was one of the two, and Pomo regresses in towards mid, finds a kill, but that's not the key. The key is the paranoia that comes in right after that, sets Broly up for a double, picks up 2 additional frags off the back of that. That's a double assist off the paranoia for the Omen. All of that is so good from Pomo.
Owl drone used, and to very little avail. They will see the fact that the jet is there. The jet honestly doesn't care, and will shoot it out with the operator, and then everybody goes back to your regularly scheduled, playing with a lack of information.
Take flight.
Morale will use an owl drone of their own, but at this point, it's really just around unactionable information. Python is seen, but there's no real usage around the Odin, but oh, okay. Snelly swings for the opposite player. Spain caught out of position. They weren't even seen with the owl drone on the original spot, but hey, it's still an opening pick. They will retrieve the weapon and back away, but you're happy with that if you're Redbirds.
Definitely are. And that owl drone that didn't look so actionable initially, action taken with Snelly, just getting into position. And like you said, though, Spain wasn't the one caught out. Spain repositions to make sure to hold that angle. But in the swift moment between Spain getting into position and the other player falling back, that's where Snelly takes that spot and comes away with the shot. So, good start. Let's see if they can push it into a victory. 2 players committed here. Lots of utility inside tree, though.
But it's been taken out. They actually just shot it out of position. Only 1 Nanoswarm left over. 0 Point will find 2 players, but Pomo re-swinging from mid, this time the opposite side of that catwalk headshot angle. But Marol wants to get aggressive. Off the back of a flash, they will do so, but Bowie actually finds that frag. With the door closing, though, they may be able to stabilize the core for free, and they will. So that kill is now responded, and Broly finds a double. What in the world is that from the Killjoy? Again popping off for multiple, and How to Feed left out on an island, a peninsula, and nothing for them to be foregone. Nice kill, nice follow-up, and again, ISU playing around utility, team play, and most importantly, just swinging off coordination.
Yeah, the coordination to start there with the operator that I was talking about, that play with Snelly and Moral on the swing. That's great stuff. Little bait and switch, little maneuver there. But it's not just that. It's Palmo looking for more information and finding that, even though he goes down, it's still a lot of info that everyone's coming up from Cat. That allows Broly to tuck into the corner there up on Heaven, I believe is where Broly was located today. Just tucks into the corner, and that's where that double kill comes from. They're not checking it because they're too worried about everybody coming from short. It's all about that coordination that we're seeing from the Redbirds. Very well executed here in the last few rounds.
Exactly what ISU's been looking for. Not only in this map, but back in map number 2, where they really missed it, was that coordination. Throwback to map number 2, by the way, they just didn't look like they were present. They had difficulties gaining control, holding control on the defensive side, or playing around one another. That's not the case here. Fault line used, Pomo's put out into the dead center of Heaven, but they don't care. Shock Dart will do the same, but Moral's waiting for the walk-in. Dark cover was perfectly timed, so there's no easy way in here for Sac State. They're going to get purple screened as they try for that aggression, with no safety net. 0 Point finds 2 players. How to Feed's just on the outside of it, but honestly, it's not going to matter. Cosmic Divide's going to be used. Prick's going to be able to freely swing because it's not hindering them whatsoever. There's one, almost a second. The information gain is good enough, and trades go back and forth, but ISU, with the preset man advantage, will keep 3 players alive and put a 7th on the board.
It wasn't just 1-man advantage, it was 2. Snelly, great patience in mid with the operator, just hanging out, waiting for Jared to peek out top mid, and who's been pretty good on the lurk overall in general this series, just gets dumpstered there. Doesn't have a chance to take a shot, and that's why the advantage that the Redbirds had was so strong, is because they had that initial shot that Palmo put together, and then the one from Snelly. There was nothing more to be done. Sac State had no more position. They had to commit, and they commit to a smoke into the waiting arms of the defense. Final round of the half. It could be 8-4, 7-5 best case here for Sac State.
Prick trying for a timing shot will find very little, but there's a lot of utility set up around this market door exit. That mid to B is a consistent staple of this setup. Rolling Thunder actually finds 2 players there. Sound Q over towards stairs, though, and the walk-in just is completely unsuccessful. They don't clear at the close side of Tetris. Broly finds a double because of it. Python as Epic Shore finds a refrag. They still have pizza control as well. Does Pomo clear this? They don't have to, but they do in the second attempt. How do you win that fight if you're Pomo? The answer? Who the heck cares? They've done so anyway, and they're now repositioning over towards tiles. Do they find the timing? They do, but only around the updraft, and Booey's actually able to find a follow-up kill because of it. Utility damage. Follow-up damage with a gun, but they're going to A, and 2 players are already on the full rotation. They're going to get beat. This is a problem for Sac State. This round's over. It's done and dusted. The walkthrough, actually, Bowie finds damage. Wait a second. Broly's now left to clutch on this side, and they're shut down just the same. And a 1 versus 1 is a spike plant almost a certainty, but no guarantee in terms of safety.
Well, and look at the position as well of this spike plant. on the other side of Jenny, but oh, no! Bowie with an incredible 4th shot to find that final frag. 7-5 will indeed be guaranteed, and that's very scary, actually, for the Redbirds. As much as I've been giving them so much credit, that was a huge mistake. They allowed themselves to be 1v1 after, every single time. Actually, 2v1, to be fair, because Sac State were playing together very well. And just individuals taking those duels. Palmo, I'll give him a pass. That's the first of them. Fair enough, right? But after that, there's no reason for everybody to be peeking one by one. Just get the information and then play the post plant.
I would like to see Snelly just sit on heaven, playing around Brawly, rather than just dropping and giving themselves away for not only information, but you're not going to win a fight if you're in midair, unless you're right-clicking with a classic, playing with a shorty, any other shotgun, or you are the most lucky player in the history of first-person shooters. You're not going to hit those shots. It's just not going to happen. And the problem there was giving yourself up for not nearly free, but mostly free. Let's be real with each other. Redbird's going to do the try to do the same thing. Yeah.
They're doing the thing.
I saw it. They're doing the same thing. For context, Vincent said that the collegiate special is mid to B here on Ascent. They're not going to be caught up by that recon bolt. Oh, no.
Oh, that's actually massive. There's a ton of util to 1B. Maybe that can be enough. But
it's only on main, though.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, won't be very effective considering that. Now they know what's going down, but they're going to evacuate, actually. They spotted something that they didn't like in Palmo. I love that. It's a nice find. Aftershock will go through. Flashpoint to follow it. As Bowie wants to get a timing, he's going to try and do so, but Snelly is so prepared, so ready. And it's a bit of a fake. The mid-B split looked so very good, really. But it's back to A, and look at the HPs for Sac State. It's so low.
Spain didn't matter. If they had low HP, they were quickly taken out by a headshot. But there's a return from Jared. Python's Epic on 70 health, 2 or 3 shots, or 1 to the head of Marol. 2 versus 2 as that chaos is now calmed down a little bit, but Prick still tucked into this close corner on the drop, looking for the frag, will find it. A 1 versus 2 now for Python. They need more headshots, and they're only going to be returned upon Palmo with the opening and the closing kill of this pistol round. And the Redbirds JV squad goes 1 for 2 on pistols in yet another map. They have not lost an attacking pistol, though, so you gotta say, credit where credit's due.
An impressive way to start the second half off, and that's been something to note, right? Second half, getting a good start has been a really big indicator for success, generally speaking. We'll see what the Redbirds can do with this. We're going to see any of that crazy back-and-forth shenanigans that we saw at times elsewhere. There is, a couple of upgrades to these pistols for the defense. Sac State giving themselves at least a chance at success. There'll only be one player on the site, though. That's Spain, who's quickly being joined. Oh, my goodness. What a shot that was.
But Spain and Bowie, wait a second. The Frenzy's just putting everything into said Frenzy. The swing from Bowie finds a follow-up, but there is an immediate return. A 2 versus 2, but a 2v1 as a spike is being planted. But Prick wins the all-important fight, but is quickly taken care of by a classic. Jared left alone. Only a classic still in their hands, has to contend with the Bulldog that has been retrieved, and long-range fights generally would favor the Bulldog, and in this case, they do just that. No wild 1v2, unfortunately, from the free gun in the game, and Redbirds JV do indeed win the conversion, but in nearly the most expensive way possible.
An awful close round, though. I mean, that is very scary, I think, if you are the Redbirds. Timeout actually being called by Sac State, ironically enough. And I think I saw that ISU are going to go for just the pistols this round. I don't know that if they have the money for the rifles, I kind of prefer them just buy rifles. I know this is like the meta, but I've long been a proponent that if you are going to do this, why not just buy fully this round? And if you win, you're good. And then if you don't, then you buy the Sheriff's next round.
So I like this decision from them because it gives them the fullest extent of possibilities to buy utility now. Not have to use utility now, but still have more than enough to buy next round. If they win, they have more than enough of an economy. If they lose, it's the same situation, but inverted, as you mentioned. Sheriffs now rather than sheriffs later. and you have more of a shot now with better weaponry, better utility in both rounds, and worst comes to worst, you lose and it costs you a little bit. That, or they just hate me and they're going to switch things up. It looks like they're going to stick with that, but give over the rifle to Pomo, have Brawley play with a Sheriff and no shields whatsoever. Everyone else has Sheriff and half shields at that. Pomo even degrades down to shields as well. And, yeah, I don't think rifles are going to save you there. 1v5 for the only player who walked into this one with a rifle. I don't know if I like Pomo's chances, but hey, never say never.
To be fair, the strategy of this round wasn't ideal. They were hoping to get a fast push towards B, and they found Python with a rifle in hand that was just not missing at all. Ever. So.
Pomo. 32 health. That is one shot to most weapons in the game. At least most rifles in the game. They don't have Spike. They don't have From the Shadows to gain the Spike. If they pick up an Alt Orb, a kill, and maybe a follow-up, that's where this becomes risky. But what do you do here if you're Pomo? Serious question. Do you just try and play for kills? Economic damage? Do you just save the rifle?
I mean, you could save the rifle. That's not ever a bad decision in like a 1v5 scenario, but damage is usually going to be the name of the game here. Especially with 4 alive, typically it's going to be hard to save this weapon, but they're not actually searching. Python will pick up the quad kill, though. Very nicely done. First gun round for Sac State is about as good as it gets. A little 4K for your Jet, Confidence Builder, and Blade Storm, just in case things get dicey in the coming rounds as well.
Here's where those guns really set in, though. Two sides to a similar coin, not the same by any means. I mean, there's two separate schools of thought. Both of them lead to a same generalized conclusion. Sheriffs in a single rifle in one round, or full rifles in a different one. You never really know what the definitive correct answer is, nor is there, depending on the squad you ask. But with Sac State winning that, Redbirds are still going to be able to fully infest. Wasn't really a bonus round, to be completely honest with you. So this is, again, the first real gun round of the half. Comes down to whether the Redbirds can find that opening. Sound Q already given over with the ultimate orb being retrieved. How to Feed's playing on the backside of Triple as well, and they've already popped a Nebula. They do not want to play for a straight-up gunfight in the early stages, but they may not have a choice.
Got a suppression onto How to Feed. This will be a gain. Oh, but unfortunately, information not so much for Pomo with the From the Shadows. Python has continued to find success.
Wow.
We'll pick up 2 more with Prick on the site, but now very much isolated. We'll get a spike plant at the very least. We should, unless there's a spam that's good enough. But Broly, you got to bring it back. I feel like he is that fellow.
Window's already open. Watch out for that. They are watching it, so Broly does not have a safety net through, but they may be playing for timing. Timing may very well get the better of them. Booby turns away at the worst possible time. There's the timing setting in, and Broly will find a 3K because of it. The flank is all that remains. The Odin comes through, but it does not find the kill. Low HP for both players. Prick on a single point of health, all things considered. Shock dart around the corner, but it doesn't find line of sight. It may not matter. Nanoswarm now on top of the spike. A follow-up is there. The Odin needs to find the kill, and will do so. Somehow a clutch from both sides, but in the end, Spain's is more impactful. Sac State will win the gun round, and a clutch from Spain's what sets them to do so.
I hate to say it, but Broly did a little trolling right there. This is so phenomenal, but then a boneheaded decision to make this to continue this fight. Like, why is this fight being taken there? There's no reason to do so. Think maybe he heard the audio cue of the shock dart. That's the only thing I can think of, but it ends up being his undoing. From hero to 0 in that round for Broly. Gave him a chance to win the round, and then unfortunately made a mistake that cost it.
That's a fight you're gonna want back if you're Broly there. Could have been a 4K, could have been a round victory. Patience is what it should have been. Well, we may never know what it would have been. That's the real woulda, coulda, shoulda. here for the Redbird side. The aggression still coming through. Bladestorm in lieu of a regular weapon. Does Snelly clear the corner? My answer's probably no, and they don't. They have no information as to its whereabouts, but he still finds the kill! What is that? Spain somehow finds a double of their own, but Snelly's not done. There's going to be a spike plant here in the A site. Again, a clutch situation required. A 2 versus 3 rather than 2v4, and all 3 players are already in the general vicinity. This is more than likely here for the Redbirds, and by no means is this a secured round. Python as Epic has already popped the Bladestorm of their own. Shorty to take care of that Nano Swarm, and a 1v3 now for Snelly. They've run out of time, they've run out of line of sight, and now they've run out of health. Holding W with a judge in hand. Smokes be damned. Sac State brings it back to within 1.
Good recovery here from Sac State. Huge clutches as well, back and forth. The outset of this half has been the setup now in place with the guns back in the hands of the Redbirds for ISU. They've got a chance to interrupt what's been 3 rounds in a row. 3 very competitive rounds at that, but 3 in a row nonetheless. And you can see how competitive it's been by the fact that, I mean, it's not like there's a ton of cash. There's some good cash left for Sac State after 3 rounds, but it's not out of control. We'll see what is the plan. Hunter's Fury going to be held on to defensively, I'd imagine, for the lockdown, which means that there's an old command of the lockdown available for free for the Redbirds. They could use that in any fashion that they wish.
Maybe you see the pistol round special here? Do they try and take mid? I don't think Python knows that the front side of mid's already been taken. Dark cover thrown, far angle, just to make sure you've reinforced that real estate. But Python, now with that known information, will just look to play for an early frag. They've surprisingly not been caught by that firebolt for information, but they may not care. Lockdown already used. They want to try and go over towards B. At least that would indicate what they're doing with this setup. And they do. Snelly's walked in. Cloudburst low. Recon will be shot out, or at least covered with the Cloudburst. And Snelly's just going to walk in. They don't care, nor does Spain, but only to their own demise. Early frag and a man advantage early here for the Redbirds as they get that spike down.
This is great for Sac State, but good clearance. Pomo, doesn't matter that he's clear with the aftershock. The pre-fire on a buoy is absurd. The Hunter's Fury gathers further information as it will be all over for Python. That shrouded step enough as Pomo has been outrageously good in some of these rounds. That's another one there where he takes everything on his own.
I don't know if you remember this. Like 10 rounds ago, there was an aftershock used to clear Snelly on Jet out of Wine Cellar. And yes, Python as Epic was holding it with the operator. I talked about it where you use the aftershock and most of the time you actually fully clear it, but sometimes you just throw it there and if nobody immediately swings, you don't pay attention to it. That's exactly what happened with Pomo there. They throw the aftershock, immediately Bowie looks away after a quarter of a second of nobody swinging. And then Pommel finds a double there, turns into a 3K. That may very well have been the round right there. You clear the Omen properly, you wait an extra full second, 1 second, and you may win the round there. That's a difference maker in mid, and that's a problem that Sac State has just hindered their entire set of momentum that they have built up, painstakingly so, off the back of maybe a single controller in mid.
They've made this perfect call. There's nobody here
way
at the B site. I don't know what information they got that made this call work, but it's perfect. The only problem with it is that they have one option, and that's the null command. They need to put this null command into place at the right time in order to ensure that Sac State can't use all of these ults, and they've already started.
The null command has been immediately responded with. That's perfect timing on the second one. Surprisingly, they do indeed use the Cosmic Divide from distance, and Jared's trying this flank in through mid. It's going to work, but do they catch out Pomo? That's the real question. Timing getting the better of them, and they lose the fight! Pomo somehow responds, and the door's been opened as they walk in. They will follow up with a double as well. Somehow the Redbirds find all the timing in the world. Father Time apparently went to Illinois State, as they're 2 away from closing out Nationals.
That is absurd. I cannot believe that we saw that. I mean, Jared just needs to hit that shot. I think it was Jared, if I'm not mistaken, on the flank through mid. And Pomo just adjusts well enough. Like, the timing on him coming through the Cosmic Divide, like, that's just timing. But, unfortunately, whipping that shot, that's something that is all up to Jared. It happens, but it's not a good time for it to come to fruition. Now just one round away from series point, from national finals point, actually. They're going to pick up the pace. The Redbirds electing to just flash drive straight out, doubly so, actually. It's Broly in mid. I don't even know how Broly gets there or how that duel happens, but it's 2 to the good for the defense, or rather for the offense of the Redbirds, and they have control.
I think that may be it. It could very well close things out. 2v3, 2v4 actually.
No.
Oh, timing. Bowie had a gun out, and as soon as they're swung, they bring out the flashpoint. I swear,
Match point.
timing usually goes 50-50. The furthest extent is 60-40 to one team. It's been 90-10 for the Redbirds, at least in the second half here. They've just shown up at seemingly every time it's been given to them. That one, pun intended, and it's just been so many problems for Sac State. They need 4 in a row here, and they just don't have that overall consistency nor singular pop-off potential on a consistent enough basis to bring themselves back into this. Their defense needs opening kills, and when they don't find them, they're just collapsed.
I think this has been a situation, though, where the Redbirds are making their own timing. They're creating these situations in a lot of cases. Sometimes it's unlucky, but other times it's the Redbirds finding a little bit of an opening, using their game sense to great control. They're going to remove what is the only defensive mid for now. Nebula goes up in order to further defend, to dissuade anyone who wants